Good evening everybody and welcome to Fylde Council Cabinet this evening. And if I can open up the meeting with any declarations of interest. None at all? No. I have a declaration of interest with regards to Woodlands Road regeneration, which obviously is in Ansdell, and will not take any part in that. The confirmation of the minutes, please, held of the Cabinet meeting on the 26th of March. Are we all happy with those?
Yes.
Can we all show? Yes. Thank you very much indeed. And Mr. Chief Exec, any urgent items?
There's no urgent items this evening, Chair.
Thank you. That then takes us to the Policy Development Scrutiny Committee recommendations, which is item 4. And can I just make an announcement with regards to item 4? And that is that the Policy Development Scrutiny Committee minutes will be deferred until the Cabinet meeting on the 25th of June. And this is to allow Councillor Duffy to prepare and submit a written minority report in line with Part 6, Section 2 of the Overview and Scrutiny Procedure Rules, and that is in relation to the Rural Housing Needs Survey. And that is namely, if a member of a scrutiny committee are not unanimous in agreeing a report, one minority report representing the views of at least 3 members of the committee may be prepared and submitted for the consideration by the executive along with the majority report. The majority report being the recommendations contained within the minutes. Councillor Duffy and the scrutiny chair have been informed of this, and the chair has agreed that both items contained within the minutes can be deferred until June the 25th. Okay, are we all in favour with that? Thank you very much indeed. That then takes us to the scrutiny recommendations for the regeneration of the former Scruples site. And the Cabinet members will be aware that at the Cabinet meeting on the 26th of March, a decision was made to defer the recommendation regarding the former Scruples site, included in the minutes from the community focus scrutiny. The decision to defer the recommendation was made to allow time for appropriate clarification of information relating to the bids submitted. That has been completed, and there has been developments between the 26th of March and now, and the Cabinet tonight are asked to consider the recommendations of the Community Focus Committee that was deferred at the committee meeting on March the 26th, which was resolved to recommend to Cabinet that the Lytham St Anne's Civic Society proposal for the redevelopment of the former Scruples site be explored further, subject to the Council's policies and usual permissions required. And I am delighted to be able to propose this matter to Cabinet tonight. If there is any questions.
Chairman, was there a suggestion that we do nothing? There was a 3 option.
No, the recommendation came from scrutiny to support yes, the Civic Society proposal.
Okay. Still not got the hang of these things. I'm happy to second that recommendation, Leader.
Thank you. We all in favour? Thank you. And I look forward to the further discussions with the Civic Society and the proposals for that site. That takes us to page 18, of your papers this evening, and the business rates write-off on of uncollectible debts. Thank you, and thank you very much indeed.
Yes, this item to comply with the council's constitution, business rates write-offs in excess of £10,000, £25,000. The Chief Financial Officer has delegated authority to write those off, subject to subsequently reporting to the Cabinet, and above £25,000, they will be reviewed by the Cabinet. So this report deals with items in both categories, two items that are below £25,000, which the Chief Financial Officer has produced and written off and is reporting to himself for information, and there's one that has write-off above £25,000, which going into Cabinet authorisation by Cabinet have been sought. The details of those are contained within the appendix. Just to say that there's three sums of money over the 10,000 written off, which represents a very small element of the total amount of collectible business rates. All efforts are undertaken by the shared service to collect debts, but there are circumstances, there will always be circumstances each year. I suspect that this is a report that you will see annually, where once all efforts have been expended, there will still be a need to write off a report because they are uncollectible. So to leave them on the books wouldn't be the right course of action. I'll just go through them very briefly. The one above 25,000 is the Public Safety Charitable Trust, which is a national organisation, which you will see the details in Appendix A, where many councils have suffered losses as a consequence of this organisation. A massive tax avoidance scam is the words that are jumping out at me in paragraph 4 of that appendix, and some councils have lost significant sums of money. But we have lost, or the collection fund has lost £28,000 as a result of the charity being liquidated when it was found that their charitable aims were not in keeping with the Charity Commission's investigations into their activities. So the charity was liquidated. That sum of money owed to Fylde Borough Council or to the collection fund is uncollectible, so that's the reason why the write-off of that sum is being requested today. Section 2 of Appendix A, there's two smaller items which are between the £10,000 and £25,000 levels, where the Chief Financial Officer has written those off under his delegated authorisations and is reporting those to you for information, one of which the company is liquidated and no further action is possible, and the second one, the individual has absconded and the council, despite all efforts, has been unable to trace the responsible party, and again the recommendation is from colleagues and has been accepted by the Chief Financial Officer that there is no prospect of collecting that money and subsequently it's been written off. That's the report in a nutshell. My colleague Mr Rouse from the Shared Service, I'm sure will be able to provide any additional information should you request such. I'm happy to take any other questions.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Buckley?
I just want to clarify, Leader, that even though we are looking to write off these debts, if in the future there becomes a possibility to chase them again, we can do so, is that right?
That's correct, yes. And we still may get a dividend from a liquidation. We will put a claim in to the liquidator to try and receive some refund, some reimbursement of the monies we are owed. So potentially the amounts owed could go down.
Okay, thank you very much. Happy to propose.
Yeah. Councillor Ethel?
It was just a question. How long do you look for this? Is there a time scale, you know, after a certain amount of time, do you stop? I know you've just answered Councillor Buckley saying that it doesn't.
For somebody who's absconded, we would probably try for about 6 months to try and find them. There is always a possibility that they will crop up inside the area again. It's not unheard of for people who have money to resurface with another idea, and we would obviously at that point reinstate the amount that's due. You can't actually, if somebody absconds, you can't go too quickly actually to trace them, because it does take a while for the tracing agents' credit references to crop up again.
Thank you.
And the item has been proposed by Councillor Buckley, and I will second the item. Are we all in favour? Thank you. That then takes us to page 26 and the individual elector registration.
Thank you, Chair. This report is on pages 26 to 31 of your report, and it's to do with the individual elector registration, the award of a grant for funding towards this scheme. There is a change in the electoral registration system that's been in the planning for about 2 to 3 years now, where you no longer register, the head of the household no longer is responsible for registering the household and people within the household. It's now each individual's responsibility to register. This change is very much back office driven. There's a lot of administrative and system changes, and as a result the government has recognised that there is a need to change some equipment and some technologies in order to bring in the new system. It all actually boils down to the size of the forms, but that actually leads to a cost for every local authority. So you had the opportunity to make a bid to central government funding in order to pay for this additional equipment. We've now got that funding, but as part of our constitutional process, that money needs to be approved to go into our budget, and then it needs to be approved to be spent. So the recommendations before the Cabinet are to approve the capital programme fund of £9,624, fully funded from the grant, for the purpose of purchasing scanning equipment necessary for the introduction of individual electoral registration. And then the second recommendation is to approve the acquisition of equipment in accordance with the contracts procedure rules in respect of small contracts which are less than 10,000 by way of informal procedure to secure the best available terms for the council.
Fine.
I'll answer any questions.
Any questions from members? Councillor Pounder?
The only concern I have is that we're going from an A4 size sheet, which is that, to one that size. And I wondered what the need for it was. If you're talking about individual households, where there might be at best 5 or 6 people. You know, it seems we're spending, or we're being asked to spend money, even if we're getting a grant towards it, for something really it seems pointless.
We take that on board.
There were parameters dictated by central government, unfortunately.
Not just saying it, it just seems, it makes you wonder, you know, make some of these decisions.
I'm happy to propose this item. I think it's a good thing to be individually responsible, to register for yourself, to go on the electoral roll. I agree with that in principle, because I'm happy to take responsibility for myself and not assume someone else in my household is doing it for me. So I think that principle's good. I have sympathy with Councillor Pounder's point about the necessary expenditure. It might not be coming from files, but it's coming from taxpayers. So I do query that. But obviously we have to comply with this. So I'm happy to propose the item.
Thank you.
I will second it, even after it's made the comments I made. Even more so, as Karen has just said, it seems a big sheet of paper for one individual, because that is exactly what it is. It's just a individual.
So be it. Thank you very much indeed. Are we all in favour? Thank you very much indeed. And the final item of business this evening is on page 32 and is the Woodlands Road Ansdell regeneration phase 2. And Mr. Drinnan, good evening to you.
Good evening, thank you, Chairman. Yes, Cabinet will be aware that a scheme for Phase 1 of Woodlands Road was completed at the back end of last year. That was funded from the Council's capital programme and contributions from Lancashire County Council and other sources. At that time we weren't able to complete the scheme. This is from the bridge up to Seymour Road, and the proposal before you this evening is to extend that scheme from Seymour Road to the end of the commercial frontage on Woodlands Road. That will be funded from a community payment which was negotiated as part of the Hare Houses retail mixed-use scheme on the Hare Houses Lane. In addition to funding secured for St Anne's, a community payment of £70,000 was negotiated for this Phase 2 of Woodlands Road. As I say, the idea is to complete the commercial frontage. If you've seen the scheme down Woodlands Road, you'll see what we've done. It's sort of basically paving, street furniture, new lighting. So the idea is to extend that format to the end of that commercial frontage. We have had, fortunately, a lot of support for the extended scheme. Just a couple of the owners have to sign on the dotted line to formally agree that we carry out the work. The County Council, it is proposed the County Council are a partner, as has happened with previous phases, both in terms of Woodlands Road and some of the regeneration work we've done in St Anne's. We found that's actually given us very, very good value for money because we're able to use their procurement procedures. And in case of Woodlands Road, we were able to procure materials a lot cheaper than we would have been able to do had we done that ourselves because of the volume they purchase. So we are proposing that the County Council remain our partner for Phase 2. Fingers crossed, the work will start in July and will will take about 3 to 4 weeks to complete. And the street lighting may take a little bit long because obviously there's a lead-in time with the ordering of that, but certainly the paving works will be completed shortly, and we should be finished in that sort of timescale. So if there's any detailed questions from yourself, Chairman, or the Cabinet, I'll be happy to answer them.
Yes, thank you. Mr Drinnan, I presume that there is no real worry that the shop owners who haven't signed up are not going to sign up?
We've actually spoken. There's a sort of stage process. Excuse me. Firstly, we notified everybody by letter to say what we intended to do with the question and answer sheet, and asked a number of additional questions. And we got all but one interested party came back. And then beyond that, we then asked for the formal agreements where we're actually proposing to work on private forecourt areas. Basically, we require that. Firstly, to ensure that they give us permission to do that. And secondly, to ensure that once the works are completed, the materials used will be safeguarded into the future. So, for example, if a private owner commissions a new gas main or electric connection, what we don't want is the nice material taking up and horrible material putting back. So we ask them to sign to that effect. So I'm quite confident, as happened on Phase 1 and with all the stuff we've done in St Anne's, that everybody will sign up and will become part of the scheme. There's nothing to suggest they won't be.
Thank you.
With my Fairhaven ward hat on, how have you managed the shops and premises at the other end?
I thought somebody may ask that one. Obviously, the scheme which the funding was supplied for was specific to the bridge to the Ansdell end, if you like. So at the present time, we've no funding to do the other side of the bridge. Although when a scheme was approved on Kingsway, you may recall there's a flat scheme there, a community payment is agreed through that. So if that scheme ever goes ahead, we can undertake the works on that side of the bridge. It's like, you look at St Anne's, most of the towns tend to be complete. There are 1 or 2 streets that haven't been, and the obvious thing people ask is when are we going to get ours, and I've already had a number of people say, when are we going to get the Fairhaven side done. So all I say is it's a longer term ambition of the council to do it, but at the moment the funding has not been put in place. But if these schemes go ahead, or through other planning schemes, then it may well be done in the future.
Thank you. I have to ask.
It'd be good to see this part of the scheme complete, though, in any event, and obviously it's funded from Section 106 money, so I'm happy to support it and propose that this goes ahead.
I'm very happy to second it.
To make this evening. First of all, it was remiss of me not to offer the apologies for Councillor Fylde, who has been unwell for the past week and is having some hospital treatment, so I wish him well, and I look forward to his return and speedy recovery, and also to announce that future cabinet meetings will now be held at 6:15. As opposed to the 7 o'clock start. 6:15 council meetings have been tried with other committees and have been well received, and so from the next cabinet meeting, which is the June committee, will commence at 6:15. So thank you very much indeed for your attendance this evening, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.